Good morning. I am Isabel Pinto das Virgens, or simply Isabel Amorim, and I'm from Brazil. So I would like to present my PhD topic to you. It's iron deficiency anemia during pregnancy, effects on the offspring, and I'm sorry, okay, thank you. I'm going to present now. And I would like to talk about myself. So as I mentioned, I'm Isabel Amorim, and I'm currently a PhD student at the Center for Translational Medicine. My supervisor is Nandorach. My scientific methodology supervisor is Annette Sabo. And the statistician of our team is Peter Matrai. I have a vision that pregnancy can have better outcomes through early detection of anemia and implementation of nutritional interventions. And my mission is to raise awareness among patients regarding iron deficiency anemia and implement the right interventions as well. So our specific goals currently are to investigate the impact of iron deficiency anemia on the occurrence of pregnancy outcomes, as well as the impact of iron deficiency anemia on the occurrence of congenital anomalies. So I'm going to present the first topic, which is investigating the impact of iron deficiency anemia on pregnancy outcomes, a systematic review and meta-analysis. We have that iron deficiency anemia is the most widespread nutritional deficiency worldwide, and during pregnancy, this iron deficiency anemia accounts for more than 75% of all anemias. And it is a risk factor for pregnancy outcomes, this is well known, and these pregnancy outcomes can lead to morbidity and mortality of both the pregnant ladies as well as the offspring. We have that preterm birth, for example, they occur in 10% of the pregnant ladies, spontaneous abortions to from 15 to 20%, and intrauterine growth restriction from 8 to 10%. Therefore, our aim is to identify the interrelations between iron deficiency anemia and pregnancy outcomes, as we have a missing link. We have that iron deficiency anemia can be both a protective factor sometimes or a risk factor. We want to examine the right relationship. So we have a clinical question of, does anemia increase the frequency of adverse pregnancy outcomes? Our population is pregnant women, our risk factor is anemia, and our outcomes of interest are preterm birth, spontaneous abortions, IUGR, small for gestational age, and stillbirth. We hypothesize that pregnant women with iron deficiency anemia, they have a greater risk of having pregnancy outcomes. Our clinical implications to decrease the adverse pregnancy outcomes by implementing the right nutritional interventions. We have conducted a systematic search in 3 databases, and we divided the search key into 3 domains. So we have population, the condition, and the pregnancy outcomes. And the search key yielded more than 20,000 citations, which we narrowed down to 212 after the full text assessment. Currently, we are evaluating these outcomes. We have ongoing analysis of subgroups and adjusted ones as well. But we have some finished analysis on preterm birth, small for gestational age, and the other outcomes that I mentioned, apart from miscarriages. So this is the first forest plot that we have. It seems, I will zoom in because we included quite a large number of studies. This forest plot accounts, it's having more than 86 studies included with a large population as well, as you can see. And we found an odds ratio of 1.56, which means that the anemic pregnant ladies have a 56 higher chances of having a preterm birth. And this was also statistically significant. And after adjustment, this association remained statistically significant, however, a bit lower. So it's 19% rather than 56%. In stillbirth, we have also a 62% higher chances for the anemic ladies to have a stillbirth during the, after delivery. However, this was not a statistically significant result, and after adjustment, this was not either statistically significant and showed to be a protective factor rather than a risk factor. And the small for gestational age in anemic and non-anemic pregnant women, we also found 18% higher chances, and after adjustment, these remained also pretty similar with 19%. However, this was not statistically significant neither in the adjusted or crude analysis. For neonatal mortality, however, we found higher chances in the non-adjusted of 57%, with also statistically significant result. And after adjustment, these decreased and also lost its statistical significance. And the same happened in perinatal mortality, with 64% higher chances. But however, after adjustment, it decreased and showed to be a protective factor rather than a risk factor. IUGR, however, was not significant, neither in the crude or adjusted analysis. So this is our summary. We have also high heterogeneity in all these analyses, a considerable one, and only the preterm birth having a statistical significance after adjustment. We have also assessed the risk of bias from these studies. They are all observational, so we used QUIPS tool for this assessment. And I would like to highlight the strengths and limitations of our study. The strengths is the high number of articles, which is more than 100, and the expressive sample size, which in some analyses they go over 15 million pregnant ladies. And the articles are also available for 6 outcomes of interest. However, you also have to highlight the limitations. We have a high heterogeneity, also lack of data in one of the outcomes, miscarriages, and moderate number of articles with adjusted analysis. This is the current progress of our project. So we have finished all these steps. Now we are conducting the analysis and having finished results to write the manuscript. This is the second topic, so it's investigating the impact of iron deficiency anemia on congenital anomalies. We have the congenital anomalies, they affect approximately 3 to 6% of the offspring, according to CDC, and they are divided into minor and major congenital anomalies. We have minor, for example, absent nails, undecided testes, and the major ones are life-threatening. So, for example, neurotube defect and congenital heart defect. And these major ones, they led to over 270,000 deaths in 2010 of the offspring. Therefore, we need to have prevention strategies, and there are many. For example, prevention for STIs, management of chemicals, avoidance of embryotoxic medication intake, also vaccination against rubella, and fortification with micronutrients. Our aim is to identify the interrelations between iron deficiency anemia and the congenital anomalies through a clinical question of does anemia increase the frequency of developing congenital anomalies. So we have our population, pregnant women in the first trimester, as the congenital anomalies, they will occur in the first one, also risk factor of anemia, and the outcomes are the congenital anomalies, the major ones. We hypothesize that anemic pregnant women have a greater risk of having major congenital anomalies when compared to the non-anemic. Our clinical implications to decrease the number of congenital anomalies by implementing also the right interventions. We have conducted preliminary research in 3 databases, in Medline, Embase, and Cochrane, and we have a search key also divided into 3 domains, and this search conducted to almost 3,000 citations. So this is the progress of our second project. We have a feasible topic. Currently, we are working on the Prospero registration, which we plan to submit in April 10. And in summary, these are the planned submission as well for the first project in May 2023, and the second one in July 2023. I would like to thank you for your attention and finish my presentation with a quote of Paul Erdős. It is not enough to be at the right place at the right time. You should also have an open mind at the right time. Thank you.
Nice presentation. My question would be regarding your first project, first outcome. Since you have so much articles, do you consider to make subgroup analysis based, for instance, geographical area and race?
Yes, we have. We were talking about that in the project meetings because we have many articles from malaria endemic countries, and we do not aim to analyze the anemia from sickle cell disease and thalassemia, for example. However, these articles in malaria endemic countries, they do not mention if they are malaria affected or not. So therefore, we want to make subgroups of malaria, also the cutoffs of anemia, because we have many. These studies have shown to define anemia according to 11 or 12 or 10 grams per deciliter of the hemoglobin. So this is also subgroup analysis, and we are going to have also this background, economic background subgroup analysis as well. So these are the planned subgroups so far. Maybe we are going to have more, and we have to discuss with the team. But thank you for your question. I hope I answered.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, right here. Congratulations. I mean, this is really a kind of tremendous data and lots of things to put together. One question is that who are the controls? Because maybe in the control, actually, you also have anemic patients, although not diagnosed. Or do they really kind of strictly diagnosed as non-anemic? Or just the general population?
No, there are some studies that they have a matched cohort, but usually they just divide the sample into anemic and non-anemic. And the ones that are in the control group, they are having 11 or higher hemoglobin values. But the problem is that we also include the high levels of hemoglobin in the control. So this is another subgroup to be made, that we are going to only include the reference values instead of higher than 11 and lower than 11.
Yeah, so probably, I mean, this is worth to publish, but probably this is a kind of lifetime research or longer, I mean, of many people, I mean, just to break this down. Because anemia, I mean, there are some, I mean, one direction is that anemia is caused by something. Maybe not only by malaria, but some other diseases too, and malnutrition, and so that would be really good to go after that. How about the time course of this? So when do you define, or when the studies define anemia? I mean, at which stage? Because this could also be another kind of factor which makes it diverse.
This is another subgroup to be made, because many have measured the anemia at the first trimester, or at the second, or the third, or even at delivery. Sometimes they do not specify, so they just mention in the first antenatal visit. So we have also different data regarding the time of the measurement, but it is during pregnancy. Even if it's at delivery, it's before delivery. We have these only the maternal anemia during pregnancy. But for this analysis, we didn't account for the time of measurement. We just considered during anemia, or during pregnancy, I'm sorry. And, but we are still working on the data, so we have to find out what time is the best, if there is a difference, if the anemia is considered in the second or the third, because we have found some studies that found this relationship as well in the third trimester rather than the first. So it is a good question. Thank you.
I think we have the concise answers also. And my last question, that do you evaluate the different hemoglobin levels instead of yes or no, instead of anemic or non-anemic?
We have also articles reporting the ranges of hemoglobin. So we are also including them. This range of hemoglobin compared to this range of hemoglobin, we find this in the articles, and we plan to.
You haven't got certain data.
I'm sorry.
You haven't got certain hemoglobin data.
We have mild, moderate, and severe anemia from many articles as well, but. The papers, they report very differently. So some they will specify the hemoglobin levels, others they just mention anemia, no anemia.
In this case, if some articles gives the original data, in this case you can compare it. And thank you for your nice presentation.